I'm going to get into Jade Helm here in about 10 minutes, and I'm going to play a little piece we put together years ago just showing how the government is arming against the people, training to take on gun owners, veterans, patriots. Almost all the funding was for that. Trump ended with an executive order the extremism project for anybody but radical Islam. He said, no longer is this for the militias and the gun owners and the veterans and the Christians claiming they're the big threat in America. It's radical Islam. 100% of the extremist program in the federal government will now be targeting them. That was 2 weeks ago. Another one of the incredible things Trump's done. I'm always trying to list all the good things he's done just being in, what is it, 3.5 weeks now or a month. It's just amazing. It really is that incredible. And that's why the power structure is doing everything it can to stop him. So again, every time we expose that the military is training for collapse, the media says, oh, you hate the military. Oh, you made it up. And they never mention that we're showing you Army.mil documents, declassified documents, leaked documents, you name it. But now that Trump's in, they've released a bunch of stuff that Obama was doing the last year and a half, and it is really, really, really bad news. Super bad news. And it's in The Intercept, and it's in other mainstream news because it's just documents they're linked to saying they're preparing for total collapse and believe that it is going to take place and that it is going to happen. We're not saying that. And again, the globalists are bringing in policies for civil unrest and financial collapse. They were hoping to do it once Hillary got in and use the global crises and global health crises to bring in world government. Chelsea even wrote a book intending that her mother would win that she's not promoting now about how she would lead a global health initiative with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to force all this tyranny on us. I told you about the book a few weeks ago. Now it's in the news that she failed in her world government plan. The book's called Governing Global Health. So that's how big these stakes are. And some people, send me articles. They go, well, look, Goldman Sachs stock's up 30-something% this year since Trump got in. And, you say they're against him. Well, why? The whole stock market's up. $2+ trillion. They've made a couple $100 billion of that because they pretty much run Wall Street. But now little firms are making money, and Trump's trying to get the Federal Reserve to make loans at almost 0% interest to small businesses. And Yellen's in the news. He's about to get rid of her in the next week. That's why they're so pissed, saying it's not wise to not raise interest rates. We need to raise them more. Oh, you wanted it at 0 when the big banks were hoarding all the money for themselves and using it and then loaning it out at loan sharking rates. No, 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 cupcake. Trump's going to send it out at 0% interest or close to it. So again, Trump is so good for business that they are exploding. And their stockholders are getting even richer. But that's not what they want. They want you in 200-square-foot coffin apartments. They want you so poor they run your life. They do not want you to have the wealth. That's real wealth, is when everybody else is poor and you've got the only wealth. That's the greatest form of wicked, centralized wealth there is. That's evil wealth. Monopoly wealth. Christ beat the money changers because they were priests who were really about money, and they made you buy the sacrifice, whatever you were going to have sacrificed at the temple, with a certain coin that was rare that only they controlled, and they'd make you pay 5, 10 times what the coin was worth of silver to exchange it. It was money changing. It was money manipulation. To be able to go in and have your sacrifice to God. And he went in with a whip and overturned the tables and beat them. You can read the different versions of the gospel. They're all the same. He beat them up. He physically attacked them and kicked a bunch of their butts. Don't you know Christ could fight if he wanted to? He said, this is where I reserve physical attacks, is for people that pull crap like this. You get all the money, nobody else does. You get all the wealth, nobody else does. And then you sit up there and play class envy and go, see that person making $250,000 a year? They're in the 1%. Yeah, if you make $250,000 a year, you're in the 1%. Folks, they say 1% has like 60, 70% of the wealth, depending on how you look at it. Some metrics are 80%. We've done the math. It's 11 zeros. And then what, 4, 2, depending on how you do the equation? Yeah, there's less than 20 people in the world that have more than half the wealth. That's right. But all this 1%, well, those are the people that have a house and a pool, so you've got an entry-level job to come clean the pool, or so you can own a company that does clean pools. Or so you can have a company that cuts the grass, or have a salon, or have a restaurant. That's called an economy. You want a big, rich middle class. But no, we've got to raise taxes on the 1% because the globalists are offshore and tax exempt. They love it. They want to get rid of the middle class. And don't worry, 30+% of the middle class is gone in just the last 40 years, and it's going away even faster. So don't worry. They'll probably have their way and bankrupt everybody except themselves. And I just love the mental midgets out there that go, he's got 3 members of Goldman Sachs in his deal. Absolutely. All of them fought NAFTA and GATT and globalism. All of them have fought against this whole operation. And all of them have pointed out that zero money came from Goldman Sachs to Trump. It all went to Hillary. Because she was the one that was supposed to win. And they did steal 5 states. They tried to steal 6 others. But the landslide was so big that all their fake polls and all their bull couldn't put their fraud back together again. Remember, I said first it'll be, oh, we just want to see if the Russians were involved. And, oh, then the Russians were involved. And, oh, the American people didn't vote for Trump. It was the Russians. And, oh, did you talk to the Russians during the campaign? Oh, did you talk to them during transition, which they admit's all normal. Then they call it espionage and call for everyone's arrest. And suddenly you see all the big neocon and rhino Republicans getting up on Fox News, all sticking their chest out going, Mr. Trump needs to come before us. We're going to find out. Lindsey Graham's going to run the show, and so's John McCain. So we're not going to let Ruskies run America. The very Republicans that helped run the whole Islamic jihad with Obama the last 6 years, turning North Africa, Eastern Africa, Central Asia, the Middle East over to radical Islam, killing hundreds and hundreds of thousands in Syria alone. Millions total. Islam spreading everywhere. The borders open. Mosque opening in places like Greece that haven't had mosque in hundreds of years because they were under the Ottomans for hundreds of years, conquered by the Muslims. And then America decided to promote the West and not commit suicide. And Europe struggled to not commit suicide. Politically, culturally, spiritually. And the globalists, the Michael Moores, the Nancy Pelosi's, the Maxine Waters of the world, they just sit up there on arrogant power trips because they know the big banks are behind them. They know the big media is behind them. And they're arrogant and they think they're unstoppable. And they are just on a warpath against the middle class and the bitter clingers and gun owners and Christians and veterans and everybody else. And they want to have a big civil war and a destabilization. And then they want to have the military they hate the most march in and have a big shooting war with gun owners. And out of that civil war, they'll sit back and basically, you know, cook hot dogs and s'mores and marshmallows over the fire of our republic. Well, I got news for you. I want to stop that fire from happening. But if it does, it's going to be you going into it. Idiots. You might be able to assassinate Trump or start a civil war, but believe me, you're going to lose real fast. Within hours, the patriots in our government have made a list like Santa Claus does of who's naughty and who's nice. And so good luck. But I know, Pelosi's so dumb she thinks Bush is still in office, and Waters thinks that Russia invaded with Trump, with his support, Korea. And they're just so stupid. Just like Zuckerberg thought he could just take hundreds of acres of people's land bordering his in Hawaii, which was ancestral ritual land, and people wouldn't blow up in his face. He's like, I'm a liberal. I'm a liberal. I fund cop-killing organizations like Black Lives Matter. Can't I just have your property? I mean, I'm a god. Look at me. I'm a little know-it-all, total sociopath, psychopath, control freak. Bow down to me. It didn't work, did it? And must not know much about the Hawaiians at this point if he actually tries to take their land, how safe he'd be when he was in Kauai. He wants their actual 2,000-year-old ritual grounds. He's like, well, it's a beautiful plateau up here. Yeah, it sure is, bro. It shows the total error, the opposite of what you call liberal. It's like Apple with suicide nets around their factories, forced drugging, all of it. The Chinese selling their political dissidents organs. And the liberals are like, I hope the Chinese communists can help stop Trump. And they're at Davos saying, we will stop Trump. And I'm going to say this to the president, and I'm getting to the other news. Mr. President, and all his constituents have to get this message to Trump. The communist Chinese went to Davos, and the president the unelected president, said, we're going to stop Trump and we're going to stop America and the globalists. That's the espionage. And the governmental leaders from the Democrats that were there, you should all start calling for their investigation. And they all did it in public. And it guaranteed it's all recorded. Of course, I know Trump actually knows this. So they're kind of keeping this as a nuclear option. No. Hillary is a communist Chinese agent. She is an agent of the Saudis. And I'm done. These people were openly involved in our election, up one side and down the other. And then they want to tell all of us that want our Second Amendment and our property rights and our veterans taken care of, and we don't want to be under Obamacare, we want to have our taxes cut, that I'm a Russian agent. You can go straight back to Hades where you came from. Oh, man, I'm getting angry. I'm going to cover it all, but I knew when I saw that yesterday that Spicer was going further than he was supposed to in knocking Flynn. That's why you saw Trump come out and say how great Flynn is today. And that is Trump delegating to his politicos, and they stab him in the back every time. And it's been coming out in the news. Priebus is the one of the big leakers. There's an article on Infowars.com by Dr. Corsi that needs to go viral. We've got a lot of exclusive sources of what's exactly going on in the White House and the type of horrible ambassadorships that Priebus is handing out to people that will then be used to burn Trump, saying he's putting bad people in these positions. And again, the president has pardoning power. But he doesn't need to pardon himself or Flynn for communicating with the Russians. That's what the president does. Again, Hillary tried to negotiate TPP and did in secret over years. And it was totally secret from Congress, the American people. That violates the Logan Act. That's illegal. That's private corporate meetings. But if you don't think national security advisors talk to Russian ambassadors, what do you think security advisors and ambassadors do? It's called diplomacy. It's what they do. But the liberal constituency is so uneducated, so uninformed, so low information that they just are screaming and yelling about Russian plots. Meanwhile, we have footage on Infowars.com of John Bound of the local communist group protesting a cat shelter that's been vandalized repeatedly and telling people to F off, and locals going, well, what's wrong with communists? They haven't ever done anything wrong. The communism is right here. The communism that took over Russia came from New York and London. That's a historical fact. It's John Bound's report. I think we should rename it and put it back out as the most disgusting commies you've ever seen discovered. Or, you know, commies besieging cat shelter. Unbelievable video. Cat shelters had the windows knocked out, stuff spray painted, super glue put in the keyholes. And they're saying it's gentrification because there's a cat shelter. Meanwhile, when South by Southwest comes in and they have big parties and bulldoze people's houses and whatever, they all love it because the Red Brigades run out of the University of Texas. Oh, yeah, it's unbelievable. Because they want to divert everybody from the real gentrification stuff that's going on. And I mean, you talk about the scum of the earth. These are people that literally attack women and people in wheelchairs. And they are just literally, I mean, imagine if you're such scum that you go out and you attack people's cat sanctuaries. And then the local liberals are so Stockholm Center, we talk to them, they're like, oh, I agree, yes, this is good. And then they walk over to a beautiful Hispanic, she looks Hispanic, looks like a model, and she's beautiful, so they tell her, get the hell out of here, scum. Because the thing is, they're mainly white kids. They don't like anybody that looks good or is successful. What it is a loser club. We're losers, we're ugly, we're stupid. 90% of us live in our mother's basements. We are scum of the earth. Most of us are on heroin, they admit that. And so we're just totally unhappy people. So we go pick a cat sanctuary because that sounds like what a low-level demon would do. Now I'm going to come back with the big news straight ahead and more of what we need to do to stop all this, what's happening in the economy, and so much more. But before I do, I am now announcing undoubtedly what I believe will be the best-selling product in InfoWars Life history in our award-winning, cutting-edge, game-changing supplements. And that's Caveman. We've been using this already for months before it officially came out, and it is unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, they know for a fact that human CC-sized brain began to grow when humans began to scavenge bones and then cook them and eat the marrow and grind the bones down. In all ancient human sites, that what you find is that humans were mainly scavengers for meat, hunter-gatherers for berries and things like that. And that our brains grew and got larger, and we became more successful because of that. And I've got a whole stack of news right here. This is the Daily Mail, how modern humans have become weaklings compared with our ancient ancestors who could outrun and outlive today's top athletes. Just the average Irish farmer or African farmer, they've dug people up, was twice as strong 10,000 years ago as we are now. What happened? I mean, men just 3 generations ago, everybody knows, were more aggressive, more virile on average. So what's happening? What's unfolding here? Well, the big thing is, Grandma always told you, if you want to be strong, you want to get better, have oxtail soup or bone soup. Everybody knows that. That's the big hot thing in the NFL for years. And powerlifters. But I thought, why do that? Why not have the ultimate? This is the ultimate. There's nothing even close of the condensed essence out of the bones and a whole bunch of other superfoods and nutrients to totally turbocharge. We've given this to top athletes, top weightlifters. We're going to have endorsing it soon. And they were just like, we've never had anything this good for joint pain, the tissues of the body. Caveman is simply the absolute game changer. It's a giant container of it, $39.95. It's massive discount out of the gates, 33% off, because I want everybody to try it. I want everybody to actually get it for themselves, because there's nothing like Caveman in my experience. And again, it's the essence of the bones, the bone marrow, all of it. It's got the collagen that is essential for ligaments, muscles, tendons. And I'm going to skip this break. I just have to tell you more about Caveman. Let me just read to you from the write-up about it. Our modern society has lost virtually all of its ancient traditions and practices that our ancestors so greatly valued for thousands of years. One such practice goes all the way back to the dawn of man, cooking meat over a fire and simmering down the bones into the broth. Today, we call it bone broth. For thousands of years, our ancestors enjoyed it in every culture, its benefits, before it became lost to our modern diets of processed junk, just like grinding up bones and then putting it in the bread. Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he live or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread. Thus, the 600-year-old Jack and the Beanstalk. That was when it was first written down, probably older. But again, then you'd also take the stuff in the hearth and burn what was left of the bones in the hearth and the potash, then use that on your crops. So this is next level with the vitamins, the nutrients, the trace elements, the minerals. Today we call it bone broth, but this is like bone broth to the next level. And for thousands of years, our ancestors enjoyed its benefits before it became lost on modern diets and processed junk. Introducing Caveman InfoWars Life, the ultimate in true paleo nutrition, with bone broth, turmeric root, everybody knows what that does, turmeric, chaga mushroom, and 7 total primal superfoods in a single great tasting formula. The unique formulation behind Caveman combines cutting-edge nutraceutical science and ancient nutrition to increase potency and maximum benefits. High-quality bone broth helps support healthy muscles and connective tissue, while the active compounds in turmeric do battle at the cellular level and help fight free radicals. Collagen works, again, to aid healthy tendons, ligaments, and muscle tissue, life essence. These are just a few of the superfood ingredients found in the new Caveman True Paleo formula, now exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. Find out what you've been missing and secure your supply of Caveman at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com. Why does a dog ignore the meat and go for the guts, the tendons, and the bones? Well, guts have the meal of whatever it was eating, and the guts have all the flora and the bacteria. It's kind of gross, but it's like yogurt to them. Okay, but it's not quite, the normal kind of yogurt we want. And then they start eating the meat after that. The red meat that tastes good that we all love, that's the least nutritious. When it comes to just calories and everything else, they go for the fat, they go for the guts, they go for something else in the digestive tract, because that's where it's all at. Wolves, the big cats, bears, all of it. When they go for meat, that's what they go for first. That's why a dog will sit there with a bone They don't just like to chew it. They didn't just do it because it's fun. They're chewing in to eat the marrow. They want the marrow that grows the blood, that grows the white blood cells, that's got the stem cells in it. Now, this is all desiccated, but what we know is that that's what has the effect historically. And we went out and saw other formulas that are somewhat like this, and it was just a couple of dollars of stuff. Just grind up some bones, some filler, throw it in there. No, 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 no. This cost us a lot to make, okay? A lot to make. Quite frankly, I'm like, man, this is expensive to make. We need to make some profits. But it's got markup in it as well to fund, to fund the operation. But you need to go check it out for yourself. InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsStore.com, or call toll-free 888-253-3139. But whatever you do, don't just believe me. You know, a few months ago, the new Super Blue toothpaste with colloidal silver and Nation iodine came in that we have for the biggest manufacturer in the country of organic non-fluoride toothpaste that we had private label for us, but do our own proprietary blend. And I took it home, a couple tubes, used it. A couple months later, I'm like, why am I digging around for toothpaste to find an old tube of, Tom's of Maine, which is, great stuff. And I realized, oh boy, yeah, I don't have auto ship because I bring it home. That's why everybody has to get on auto ship, because you'll just forget, and then you don't get the best toothpaste out there, and you're not supporting the broadcast. It's a lose-lose, folks. It's great toothpaste, and if you like it, then please sign up for auto ship. You can cancel anytime. That way you keep supporting the broadcast, and you get great toothpaste. It's a win-win, 360 win. But it's the same thing. Now, one of my concerns was, I said, man, really concentrated bone broth, what's this going to be like? Well, we have a natural way to make it really taste good. It goes really great with cocoa. And so it tastes delicious. Because I remember when we first got the first formula, it tasted, like bones. Kind of tasted good, but I'm a guy, I like the taste of pretty serious stuff. I like the taste of aged beef, you name it. As you get older, you get a more complex palate. I wouldn't like that when I was a kid. And I said, we got to do something. So we worked for this for about another 6 months, formulators, and it works great with cocoa, which is also good for you and an antioxidant. So it's chocolate flavor. So, ladies and gentlemen, get ready for this. Here it is right here. I personally like it over ice. They brought it to me without ice. But it's incredible. It tastes like Ovaltine, but not as sweet. And I'm not saying that because I want to make it sound good. I love Ovaltine, folks, but it's obviously 30 years ago it was a good, crappy thing for the kids that had a little bit of vitamins in it. I'm not knocking Ovaltine. I still buy it occasionally. But I was like, this tastes like Ovaltine, but not as sweet. If you put a little bit of honey in this or a little bit of sugar, it's Ovaltine. I mean, it's incredible. So it's available right now on InfoWarsStore.com, or call toll-free 888-253-3139. 888-253-3139. Now, before I go any further, I ran out of time to get into Jade Helm, again, which is an entire lesson on how the globalists operate. We know there's military training. There's billions of bullets getting bought. The Justice Department admits they're trying to take on gun owners, veterans, conservatives. That's in all their manuals. How's the media tap down this awakening? They go, Alex Jones says he hates the military, and they're coming to take Texans' guns and kill them. Never said that. They put it in thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of publications. I mean, sometimes it was thousands a week for years. Went from 2014 right to 2015. So they spent years attacking me, misrepresenting so you'd accept the real takeover, because they want to get our military to accept it. And under Obama, this has now come out, and it's in mainstream news today, that they have a plan to, quote, take over the United States. Now, our military doesn't want to be part of this, but the globalists are fomenting civil unrest and the overthrow of Trump to bring it in. They were already planning it with Hillary and the takeover of the press. But now it's in the news, mainstream news. Pentagon warns of unfavorable dystopian future for world's biggest cities. I believe they're going to have to occupy the United States. Coming soon to senior U.S. military's plan to take over America. Zero hedge. And it's direct quotes. You understand exactly what I told you. Back in the article, government promises to stop lying because of Drudge Report. In their own press release, they said the military will be in every city in the U.S. from July 28, 2013. Go watch my breakdown of it and the State Department breakdown of it. That's 3 years ago. Master the human domain, the domestic plan behind Jade Helm. And they admit in their own words, control everything, surveil everything for whoever's ordering them. And that would have been Hillary Clinton. Now, they put this in, and The State Department and other agencies are in open revolt against Trump. The military isn't. So there's a civil war in the country. Oh, here's another, London Guardian. Revolution, flash mobs, brain chips, a grim future. That's their Ministry of Defense. You see, I told you. We don't lie, folks. We give you the absolute, total truth as best we can give it to you, as best we can find it. Are we perfect? No. I'll be honest. It's worse than I usually think. So I'm sorry that I don't say things are worse, because I just can't even get my mind around it. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say, see, I told you so, that communist Chinese-style net censorship was coming to the web, because it's already here. It's being announced. The way you keep the internet open and free is you get involved more than ever. Go to Infowars.com/app. A new battleship in the fight. Infowars Live, available right now. We're looking for a crew to man it. You gonna sit down and play games and be a trendy? Or are you gonna be part of history? Don't sit by and let the internet and free speech be stolen from you. Take action.